Happy Tu Bshvat. Today is a very, very magical day and a magical time and a very high and auspicious time to be metaken, to fix different things in your neshama, in your nefesh. It's a time of healing. It's a time for zivugim. It's a time for bringing forth great new things into your life. And there are a few things that we need to know from the Kabbalah, from the Zohar, that teaches us what to do on this day in order to really, really, really milk it, in order to really gain all the energies that come down into the world in Tu Bshvat, have them work in our favor. So what do we do on this day, and what's so amazing on this day? So there's a ton of things on Tu Bshvat. I'm just going to pick out a few ideas and share them with you, and a few segulas of what to do today in order to bring in that marriage partner that you're waiting for, bring in the health that you're waiting for, bring in the parnasa that you're waiting for, bring in all those good things that you're waiting for. First of all, today, Tu Bshvat is Rosh Hashanah La'ilan. That's what it's known for. It's known to be the head of the year for the trees. Today, the trees are judged, and it's going to be determined today which tree is going to give fruit to what, how much fruit it's going to bring into the world, if it's going to be plentiful or not plentiful. Today, the trees are judged. Today, each tree is given its lot for the next year and how much it's going to grow and what it's going to do in the world. So it says in the Zohar, Ki Adam et Sadeh, that a man is really energetically likened to a tree. How does that work? That the cycle of the tree is similar to the cycle of man and the cycle that we are going through. Today on Tu Bshvat, what affects us the most is just like when we see the tree, and we see it now when we do this Tu Bshvat thing, right? When we're celebrating the trees today. And if you go outside and you look at your closest tree, you'll see that it's naked, that it's not fully, there's no fruits on it, there's no leaves on it, there's no flowers on it, there's nothing on it. It's in the middle of the dead of winter. It doesn't look like much. It doesn't look like this beautiful tree with fruits and flowers, which it's going to look like in a few months from now. But what the Torah teaches us is that today, on Tu Bshvat, the sap goes into the tree, goes up into the tree, and this is exactly when the fruits start to grow. Although we don't see it with our eye, and when we look at the tree, we see the opposite, actually. It looks like it's dead, it looks like it's naked, it looks like nothing's really happening there. There's no growth, there's no fruit coming to fruition. And yet, we know that the sap is now going up the tree, and now it's making its biggest impact on the tree, and now the fruits are actually underneath the ground, behind what looks to the eye, it's happening. Now is when the growth is taking place. Same thing for us. During the time of winter, during the time in our life that feels winter, during the time in our life that, we're coming out of Egypt, it doesn't seem like we're there yet. Okay? Not married yet. I don't have my business yet. I don't have my friends yet. I don't have my health yet. I don't have whatever it is yet that I'm working towards, that I really, really want and pray for and desire so much in my life. But it's exactly this time of year, this Tu Bshvat, the energy that comes into the world is Tu Bshvat is when it's not in front of your eyes, when you don't see the growth yet, when you don't see the promise yet, when you don't see the promised land yet, when you haven't seen, you don't have the fruits that you're waiting for yet to bite into. It's not what it is that you're working towards hasn't shown up yet on the scene of your life, but you have to know that it's the darkest time of night before the new day begins. When does the new day begin? Exactly when the dark part of night hits. That's exactly when the light starts to shine as well. That it's when you're in the dark parts in your life, when you're in the difficult parts in your life, when you're in the struggle part of your life, not when you're in the success part yet, not when you're in the, I see the fruits of my labor yet, but not when there. In that time, that is when the Yeshua starts to grow. That is when your salvation starts to grow. Now when it's clear to your eye, now when it's there already, now when you open the door and you see it. That's why this past Shabbos, when they were walking through the Yam, they didn't get to the other side yet. They didn't get to redemption yet. Their enemies were running behind them. They didn't know what to do. They were between a rock and a hard place. And then they start singing, thank you Hashem for bringing us out. And thank you Hashem for the Geula. And thank you Hashem for the redemption. And thank you Hashem for all the misery and the slavery behind us. And Miriam takes out her tov and she starts to play her drum. And everyone's singing and dancing. But you're still in the middle. You're not there yet. What are you singing and dancing about? And this is a huge, huge, huge takeaway for us from this holiday and from the time that we're in right now. Don't wait until you have that friend, until you have that business, until you have that marriage partner, until you have your health, until you have all those things to sing and dance and celebrate. Sing and dance and celebrate while you're in the middle, while you're on your path, while you're still in the process, and be certain that you will have fruit to eat. Even though right now you look at this tree and it's so naked and it's so barren, and how is it going to deliver? How is it going to bring forth fruit? How is it going to give birth to something so delicious and so amazing? You know that it will, because right now this is where it's all happening under the ground when you don't see it. So there are a few things to do today that are very powerful. First of all, have a suda, have a meal, set your table up with as many fruits as you can possibly think of. First of all, you're supposed to have the Shivas Aminim, the 7 fruits of Eretz Yisrael. Okay? The 7 fruits of Eretz Yisrael, Google it, check up what it is. Have the 7 fruits of Eretz Yisrael first. Okay? Make sure to make the brachos on them in the right order. Have those fruits. Then have berries that are hadama. They're not ha'etz, they're hadama. They're also fruits. Then you can have what we had over here, shahakol, but it's orange juice. You're supposed to have geffen as part of your grape wine or grape juice as part of your Shivas Haminim. Okay, involve as many fruit, dry fruit as you can in your Seder Tu Bshvat. Every single fruit that you make a bracha on, every single fruit that you eat is mitaken, another shorish of your neshama. Today starts something new. Today starts something, and different energies is coming into your life today. A newness of energy. A growth of sorts is coming into your life right now. Even if you're not seeing it right now, you have to know that it's happening. And when you do this Seder, Tu Bshvat, and you have all these fruits, and you say whatever psukim you can say, whatever divrei Torah, there's lots of it online that you can Google and you can see. It really impacts your neshama on a root level. It talks about the root of tonight. The Zohar talks about is sourced in Keter. The Keter is the sphera, which is the deepest sphera. It's the highest sphera. It's the sphera where really it's the root of everything, of all the parts of your personality, of all the parts of your mazel, of all the parts of yourself. It stems from the sphera Keter. And doing this seuda of fruits is mitaken. It strengthens that shorish of Keter, because the malchus, which is the light that comes down into the world on this day, immediately sends a ha'ara to the keter. It's a little deep, it's a little complicated. Just do it, it's incredible. A few segulos to do. Number 1, give 91 shekels. This is Rav Chaim Palaji. He says, give 91 shekels, $91, 91 cents, 91 prutos to tzedakah today. 91 is the gematria of Ilan, which is tree, and it's also the gematria of Amen. It's also the gematria of Malach. Give 91. It's a very big zchus to give 91 shekels, dollars, cents to tzedakah during this time of Tu Bshvat. Tonight, tomorrow. Also, it says you should say Nishmas Kol Chai today. Nishmas is in our Shabbos davening in the Siddur. You should also say, if you're looking for a Zivug, if you're looking for a Shidduch, it says you should say the 7th parak of the Sefer of Bamidbar, the whole 7th parak, and after you finish saying the 7th chapter, say to Hashem, in the honor of this day, in the honor of Tu Bshvat, in honor of the time that I'm in right now, in honor of me saying the 7th parak of Sefer Bamidbar, send me my Zivug Hagun, Mishorish Nishmasi, send me my partner, send me my marriage partner, send me my soulmate, the other half of my soul. He also says that today is the ultimate time for healing. There's a tremendous there's so much learning to do on Tu Bshvat. It's a tremendous amount of time it's a tremendous time for healing and for refuah. So ask for these things. Ask for whatever you would like. Ask for whatever you need in your life. Parnasa has everything to do with the chita. Chita is the first Shivas Aminim, wheat. It stands for Parnasa mezonot, that a person gets. Eat the mezonos. Make a bracha charona after you finish everything. Okay, make sure that you say al peros, al michya, and very nefashos, and whatever you're eating, whatever you're drinking. And keep in mind that it's when we are in this galus, it's when we are in the darkness, it's when we see that they're threatening with the nuclear bomb, and when we see the rise of anti-Semitism, and when we see sort of like a civil war starting up in Eretz Israel, and when we see all the things that we're looking at in the world, and the world seems so dark and seems so scary, now is when we start to sing and thank Hashem for the Geula. Now is when we take out our drums. Now is when we take out our flutes. Now is when we put on our dancing shoes and we say thank you Hashem for the Geula, because even though it's dark right now, and even though the tree is barren right now, and even though we don't see the Geula right now, and even though we don't see the fruit right now, we are certain, we are sure, we know that Tu Bshvat is the beginning of Pesach. Tu Bshvat is the beginning of redemption. Tu Bshvat is the beginning, the spark, the seed sap going up the tree that we don't see in front of our eyes, but it is the beginning of when the story turns around, and when we are beginning to win this war, when we are beginning to see the light at the end of the tunnel. This is where it all begins, Tu Bshvat. It's the Rosh, it's the head of the big turnaround. This is the beginning of our redemption. So right now, like Miriam, sing and thank Hashem for the redemption, for the Geula. Even before you see that fruit on the tree, say thank you for the fruit already. And Bezrat Hashem, this year, we're going to greet our King, Melech HaMashiach. We're going to usher in the Geula, the redemption. Even though it seems so dark around us right now, it's really the beginning of our new era. Bezrat Hashem. Happy Tu Bshvat.